So you guys have all seen the Supra prices recently, and they are skyrocketing out of the budget of pretty much everybody in existence. And now you're looking for a alternative to that car. You might be looking at a Mark III Supra or a Mark II Celica Supra or even an MR2. But there's a couple cars that share some of the same parts as a Supra. One of them is the SC300, another is the GS300, and last but not least, the IS300. Today we're going to be talking about the IS300 and showing you everything that you need to know about this car before buying one. We're going to go over the differences between the years. Next, we're going to go over the common problems you want to look for when checking out one of these cars so that you can identify them easily and use them to haggle the price down. Then after that, we're going to talk about all the rare parts you want to look for when looking at one of these cars. So if they don't know what they have, you can get yourself a good deal and hopefully not have to scour the internet for some of these parts. And last but not least, we're going to talk about the rare colors. So if you want to stand out a little bit more than all the other IS300s out there, you can get those colors. Just to be clear on this particular car, about the only things that are shared with the Supra is the 2JZ GE engine, and that's if you're buying an NA Supra. If you're buying a twin turbo Supra, almost everything in this engine is a little bit different, but if you add a turbo to this car, you can reliably get around 400 horsepower, which still isn't bad for the price point of these cars going for nowadays. So first, let's go over the differences between the years. In other countries, the Altezza platform was offered for a longer time, but in the States, it was only offered from 2001 to 2005, so we have 4 model years to cover and their differences. The first year for the IS300 to come to the States was in 2001, and it was only offered in an automatic and sedan version. This was the year that started the Altezza taillight trend and only came in the chrome taillights. In 2002, they made some big changes and added a 5-speed manual transmission and also added the Sport Cross, also known as the Gita or Gita in Japan. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but that's how you spell it, Gita. They also came out with the L-Tune package, which is really rare because they only made it for the 2002 model year. For this model year, they also offered smoke taillights for a couple different color schemes. They also increased the ground clearance of the car and made some steering revisions. In 2003, they axed the L-Tune edition and instead changed it to the Sport Design edition. Later on in the video, we'll go over both of those in more depth. In 2004, there's nothing really cool that they updated, and in 2005, they took away something that was cool and they stopped offering the LSD. Damn it! So now we're going to go into the common problems these cars had. There is quite a few, although this car is very, very reliable. You see many of these on the road still kicking with over 200,000 miles, all beat up and still chugging along. But there are a few problems that if you do take care of, it will save you a bunch of money, and that's why I want to let you know about them. The problem that you should take the most serious is the lower ball joints. And the reason why this is so important is because when your lower ball joint goes bad, it will break off and your car will do the ka-chow, just like Lightning McQueen. And pretty much it will mess up your bumper, your fender, even possibly your wheel, and whatever else it scrapes up on the ground. So it's a very easy fix. I think maybe a new ball joint is maybe like $50 to $100, and if you do this, it'll save you a lot of trouble. Another thing these cars are notorious for is the sticky dash. There is an exception if you buy an 01 IS300. I guess that year they decided to stay awake while making them and sealed them correctly, or did something differently to where they don't end up being sticky. But if you do have an IS300 made outside of 2001, you might still not have it, either because they had a recall and the last owner replaced it for free before 2017 when they stopped the recall, or you don't live in a hot place, because the number one reason why these things get sticky is from the sun. The next problem that you want to look out for on this car is look at the radiator under the hood. Since these OEM Denso radiators are made out of plastic, the neck on these will crack, which could cause pressurized coolant to spray everywhere, and if not caught promptly, could overheat your engine, and
that's no good.
One problem that I know very well is that the AC servo motors on these cars go bad, leaving your aircon stuck on one mode or blowing out of all vents. This is a problem that's on my girlfriend's IS300 that we haven't been able to fix yet, and we plan to do that down the road. The next thing that you would want to look at when you're checking out one of these cars is you're going to pop open the hood and look at the harmonic balancer all the way at the bottom front of the engine. If you see it wobbling ever so slightly, that's not a big issue, but if it's wobbling a lot, it could break in two, causing you to lose all your accessories, including your water pump and alternator, again causing your car to overheat. Damn it! Sometimes, since these cars are older, they go cheap on these cars and they buy the wrong power steering fluid. When you're checking out the car you're looking at buying, check the power steering fluid on the little dipstick. See if it's red. If it's green or any other type of fluid, that is really bad for your power steering. It needs a special type of red fluid and if it's not in there, it could ruin your pump and rack and pinion. Now, if you're wanting to get a manual in this car, there's one big thing you need to look up, and these transmissions are weak. A little abuse on these go a long way, and if they're not taken care of, the transmission fluid isn't changed, and they just keep on beating on them. So make sure to shift up through the gears and down through the gears, make sure there's no grinding, and make sure you have no problem getting into gear. And the last common problem with these cars is that if you buy an IS300 with an LSD, which is pretty rare, and good by you for finding it, it might whine, and if it does whine, you're pretty much going to need to rebuild it. So now that we got all the problems out of the way, I want to discuss all of the rare bits you should be looking for, because usually when you buy parts on a car already, you can get a better deal than looking for these parts separately. And not to mention, if they don't come with the car, they could take a long time to find because these parts are relatively rare. In 2002, like I said, they came out with the L-Tuned edition. So the L-Tuned edition came with a more aggressive front bumper with 55-watt fog lights, a rear valance, side skirts, a rear spoiler, and a carbon fiber style grille. It also came with 18-inch custom L-Tuned wheels, also known as a Race versus Campionato SS7. It came with an L-Tuned muffler, which sounded a little bit louder and added 8 horsepower over stock. It came with better springs, sway bars, L-Tuned exterior badging, and L-Tuned floor mats. Since they axed the L-Tune, they replaced it in 2003 with the Sport Design. Sport Design was less aggressive and didn't have as many cool stuff on it, but it had 17-inch Sport Design wheels. It came with black pearl badging with a Sport Design emblem on it, a front grille that said Sport Design, came with smoked fog lights, tail lights, and headlights, and came with a Sport Design exhaust. More so with the L-Tune, but L-Tune and Sport Design items go for a lot of money, so if you find a full L-Tuned IS300, that's worth a lot of money over stock. If you find a Sport Design model, I'd pay a couple grand over a regular IS300, and if the guy has a couple L-Tuned items or Sport Design items on their base IS300, it'd be worth a little bit over stock. Another rare thing that I've always wanted is the IS300 Sport Cross, the wagon version of the car. They only made 3,078 of them, so they're extremely rare versus a regular one, and I think they look really, really good. And the last couple rare things that I want to talk about is actually something that's pretty crazy. Usually the bottom model of a car never sells for more than the top model, but the slick top version of the IS300 without the sunroof and with the cloth interior was a broke boy version of the IS300. I'm guessing the only way you could get this car is if you really wanted an IS300 but you didn't have enough money for it, so they're like, hey, we got you. We'll just take out the sunroof, we'll take out the leather interior, you'll get the cloth, it'll be all basic, but it'll still look like an IS300. And now those things go for a lot of money. Who knew one day it would pay off to be a broke boy? So now we're going to go on to the 5 rarest colors you can get for an IS300 to make yours just a little bit more special. I think one of the rarest colors that you can get for this car is Auburn Sky Pearl. It is a dark orange color, almost like a UT. This wasn't a popular option back in the day, and that's why it is so rare. Now people like it because of the rarity. If you're just looking at the color, I think with a body kit and a couple other mods, it could look nice, but stock, I don't think it's that nice of a color. Next, you got Alabaster Metallica. This is just a light silver. It came on the Sport Design model, and it is a nice creamy color. Now the next color is Diamond White. You might be thinking, yeah, I've seen a lot of white IS300s, but the reason why this one is so special is because it got replaced with Crystal White in 2002. So for you to get this color, you have to buy an 01. Next, we got Imperial Jade. Dark green is always one of my favorite colors on these cars, just because it looks so luxurious with a tan interior, and there's just no combination that can beat this color combo. Especially when the light hits it, it just shines and it looks so beautiful. And last but not least, we have Spectra Blue Mica. This is also a rare color on a Celica, the last video I made. But this color is one of the nicest blue colors that I've ever seen. So I hope you guys enjoy this IS300 buyer's guide. Make sure to check out the other buyer's guides if you're looking for any other different cars, and make sure to subscribe and like the video and join the Discord down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.